All right, students, we're going to be talking about volume of prisms today. We're going to be making the jump into three-dimensional geometry. Surface area and volume will be our topics over the next few weeks. And the first shape we're going to be looking at is the prism, or more specifically, the rectangular prism. The rectangular prism is probably the easiest shape of the bunch, and that's a good place to begin. So to find just volume today, we're going to be looking at a formula of volume equals length times width times height. And that translates into the prism by saying length, width, and height. Now don't get too hung up on the fact that one has to be length, one has to be width, one has to be height. That's fine, but it doesn't really matter the order in which you multiply the three dimensions of your prism. Because of commutative property, we could switch them around, call one length, width, height, and multiply them, and you're going to be fine. I wrote this little bit in here about capital B, because I noticed on one of your problems, it talks about base area, which would be capital B in geometry, equaling length times width. So if you're given the base area, you don't have to multiply the length times the width. It's already been multiplied for you. And this relates back to other types of prisms, like triangular prisms, where we find the base area, the area of the triangle, and then multiply by height to find the volume. So we'll be doing that later on. So be aware that base area is already taken care of with the length times width. Let's get right to it. We have the prism here that I've drawn, a rectangular prism, 5 centimeters, 7 centimeters, and 8 centimeters on its dimensions. So I'm going to call the length 5 in this case. Makes sense to me. 7 is the width, and I'll call 8 the height. So I'm going to multiply them all together. 5 times 7 is 35, and then times 8 is going to be 280. Now, labeling in volume, we're actually finding cubic units. So like surface area, you're finding flat area, square units. In volume, we're finding how much space will fit inside of an object, or how many cubic units it takes up in 3 dimensions, how many cubic unit space. So the volume of this particular prism is going to be labeled in centimeters cubed. So that's going to be our answer for this problem. Pretty simple on finding the volume, but it doesn't end there. Excuse me. I looked at the assignment that I have for you today, and one of your problems on there was actually letter D, and I'm going to read it to you. You'll find it on the PDF practice as well. It says, an aquarium weighs 18.5 pounds when empty. The aquarium is 30 inches long, 12 inches wide, and is filled with water to a depth of 16 inches. Water weighs 0.036 pound per cubic inch. How much does the aquarium weigh when it is full of water? So you can see I've listed the needed information here. We have the 18.5 pound empty weight. We have the dimensions, which we're going to be finding the volume of. And in fact, the order that I put them in is just fine to multiply. And then each one of those cubic inches of water weighs 0.036 pounds. So that's what this means, per cubic inch. So our goal here is to find the total weight of the aquarium when it is full. So let's start with a few things. We have the empty weight. So if we add the empty weight plus the water, we should have the total weight. So let's work on that. Our empty weight would be 18.5 pounds. Our water, if we find the volume of the water and then multiply the volume by 0.036 pounds per cubic inch, we'll find out the weight of the water. So I'm going to be using a Texas Instruments calculator. You can definitely use a calculator for this. I'm going to go 30 times 12 times 16, 5,760. That makes sense. 30 times, yeah, that makes sense. Now, if I multiply this whole volume, 5,760 cubic inches, or inches cubed, by the weight of the water per cubic inch, we will have our weight of the water. So every one of those cubic inches, 5,760 of them, each one of them weigh 0.036 pounds. So we'll say times 0.036. So we have 207.36 in water. So the empty tank, again, the empty tank weighed 18.5 pounds. The water weight was 207.36. If I add these two weights up, I get 225.86 pounds total. I'm going to go with that as an answer. Okay, that's it. As far as volume of prisms for today, be sure to email me if you need to. Thanks for watching.